guitar. I can't forget it, man. It had plastic strings on it. I remember going in my bedroom, tuning it up. And the first song I played on my guitar was Peter Gunn. See, some of y'all trying to act like I'm trying to date you, but you know where Peter Gunn come from. You ain't that young. I like, you know, dun 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 dun. Da na 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 da 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 da. Y'all see y'all act like y'all don't know nothing about Peter Gunn. I can't forget that because my ambitions were not to be a preacher. I wanted to play. I remember the next instrument that I got, we had moved out of the projects to 26th and Brown. Our address was 2018 North 26th Street. I was around 10 years old. My father went out and bought me a drum set. That's right, it's the truth. It was a black drum set with gold glitters in it. See, I need to tell you a little bit about myself. It had gold glitters in it, and I remember sitting down to it. I wouldn't let them help me set it up. I set it up myself. And I sat down to that drum set, and I got the sticks in my hands, and I began to play the beat Cold Sweat. Now, I was reared in the church, but that was a very popular beat. Boom. Boom, boom, pa, boom, pa, boom, boom, pa. See, y'all act like y'all know nothing about James Brown either. My goodness. Y'all remember Cold Sweat? Drill teams used to drill to that beat. Come on now. I remember my next instrument. Now, there's some great things that happened in my life. My sister and I, at 12 years old, we moved to Los Angeles to pursue a singing career. This is what our parents wanted us to do. And we stayed out here for about 3 months, and we sang at Bill Cosby's house at a Christmas program, and we sang at a lot of great things. And I remember some of those things, but I don't remember them like I did when we got our first piano. We had moved from 2018 right next door to 2020. You see, family was growing, and we didn't have room to, didn't have time to move a long way away. We had to just get what was bigger and that was available. And my mother and them had an upright piano. And I was about 12 years old, and I remember sitting down in the living room to that piano, Tammy, and I began to play. The first song I wrote, 12 years old, I could just put chords together. God just blessed me to do so. The first song that I wrote it myself. By that time, I was saved, so I wasn't playing the blues or James Brown tunes. They were original songs. And the first song that I wrote was entitled, "'Cause I Love the Lord." As a matter of fact, that was the chorus in it. "'Cause I love the Lord." Oh, I wish I had some strength to preach tonight, but you all pray for me. "'Cause I love," that was the background. "'Cause I love the Lord." I had a little group. And my sister Phoebe, who I always thought could sing better than me, I taught her the lead part of the song. And the lead part went like this. "You don't know like I know, but you should take the Lord wherever you go." Then the background would say, "'Cause I love the Lord." Second verse was, "I once was lost, but now I'm found. Once was blind, but now I see." Background, "'Cause I love the Lord." So we got invited to our first 3:30 program. I was so excited. Christ Temple Church of God in Christ, one of the bigger churches in the city. It was debut time for me to show my talent. Got my little group together, called them Darrell Hines and the Disciples, you know. Yeah, Got my little group together, and we went up there and we got on stage. I started playing my little introduction. Background started saying, "'Cause I love the Lord." Phoebe went through the first verse. "You don't know like I know, but you should take the Lord wherever you go." Then the second verse came around. Phoebe started singing, "I once was lost, but now I'm found. I once could see, but now I'm blind." She messed my song up. I was like, "Phoebe, no, you didn't say you once could see, but now you're blind." You see, that's all I ever wanted to be. Someone who played an instrument in the church. But at the age of 19, the Lord called me to preach. I didn't struggle with it. You see, when I was a musician, there was one thing that I learned, that if I'm going to play, I'm going to be the best musician I can be. And so I'm going to practice day and night. I would practice sometimes. Mama would call down the basement and say, "Boy, if you don't get off that piano, I am going to beat you. I would play sometimes all night long because I knew that if I was going to be good, I had to put something into it. You see, I didn't just want to be somebody else playing. So when God called me to preach, I says, now God, I will accept the call to preach, but I don't want to just be another preacher. I don't mean that derogatively, but I mean it like this. I don't want to just be another one that can get up and just get an offering or just get dismissal or just stand around just looking at the pulpit just waiting for a chance to preach. I didn't want to be one of those kind that really didn't have a ministry. I just wanted to be one that was great in him. Don't hold that against me. This is just what I wanted to be. And when God called me to pastor, I said, okay, God, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm not going to just be another pastor in the city taking up some space. I don't have anything against storefronts, and I think they have their place, but I didn't want to be in that place. I says, now God, I don't want to just be another storefront pastor that is only ministering to him and three and his wife and his children, that has no vision, no purpose, no desire to do anything great. And I'm not saying that's the attitude of every pastor that starts in a storefront, but I said, God, if I'm going to walk in this office, I am going to walk on Satan's head in this office, and I'm going out into the community and I'm going to minister to drug addicts and crackheads and prostitutes, and I'm not going to just preach from the pulpit, but I'm going to a dying world and tell them about a living Christ. But something happened. It looked like the more progressive that we became in ministry, the less accepted we became by those that were supposed to be receptive to us. It's amazing, and you all don't have to say anything now because I feel my help. It is amazing that when God has put a call on your life and you've gone to God in prayer and fasting, and he has anointed you and established you, how people, when you begin to excel, they have a problem with your spiritual ambition, and they have nothing to do with what God has called you to. Can you say something in here? Let me hear you say something in here. It is amazing how you spend time before God and how people can become so distant from you when God begins to use you. You see, we have a problem with ambitious people, don't we? Have a problem with ambitious. Just the word ambition, a strong desire for wealth, fame, power, position. It rubs some of y'all sanctification the wrong way, because we supposed to be humble. God says we supposed to be broke. It's amazing. I'm not going to be up here a real long time. I have to come back and preach, but I got to tell this to you before I leave. You see, we have a problem because we try to judge people's now. We're not familiar with their then. How can you say anything about my coming out when you don't know what I've been through? How can you judge my breakthrough when you don't know nothing about my breakdown? How can you judge my joy when you wasn't around in my sorrow? You see, we have a problem with people that has God-given ambitions, and we do it out of ignorance. We begin to judge prematurely, not knowing a man or a woman's experience. We begin to draw conclusions on their lives, not knowing what they've gone through. A young man walked up to me one day and said, hey man, pray to God give me your anointing. I want to be able to preach like this. And no, you know what? Yeah, I want that. So you sure? God, let him be struck by lightning and be dead for 45 minutes. Let his wife have asthma. Let his son be born with cerebral palsy. Let him lose his job, all of his friends. Let him run out of money. Let him have to hawk his clothes. let him have to trade to give his car up and walk away from his own. He said, wait a minute, preacher, wait, what are you praying?